Hey guys, it's Maverick, and today we're going to do another reaction video, and today we're going to be reacting to Mr. Nightmare. Our last few videos were doing good. You can see, our last video, Boom Boozle, got 52 views. Our last reaction to Mr. Nightmare did 80, it went through the roof. And then another Mr. Nightmare did 50 views. And so I want to just keep it up. Let's see if we can get more than 20 views this time with this roundabout, or we could just get to 50 views. So without further ado, guys, I don't know. Okay, well, let's start anyways. Let's get started. Here we go, boys. I know Mr. Nightmare made a new video. I failed terribly to record it. I recorded it, but the audio of the video didn't get in. So let me turn it up. Here we go, boys. Ooh, that was
This happened to my parents back in the late 80s. They were in their mid-20s when this all occurred. My parents decided to go camping in cool California. When they got there, it was kind of late. My mom was sitting down on a log while my dad was unpacking the truck. While sitting down, she heard walking around the campsite, so she went and quietly told my dad she heard something walking around.
Okay.
They got the hell out of there just in case. They drove about 3 miles down the road with their headlights off so they wouldn't be followed. Once they got there, they set up camp and they began to drink their asses off while listening to a boxing match on the radio. Eventually, they settled in for the night.
There you go.
Now, they don't know for sure that this next event is connected to the first, but they believe it is. So they settled in, and my dad was asleep far before my mom. My mom was in the halfway state where you're half awake and half asleep. Suddenly, she heard footsteps outside the tents. She abruptly snapped back to consciousness and listened. She tried waking my dad, but he was way too out of it. She listened for what seemed like hours, when suddenly, she heard the words, "Here I am, I'm going to kill you," from outside the tent. While saying this, the man ran what she believes to be a knife along the tent. She could hear him walking and dragging the knife. She was literally frozen. She couldn't say anything or move.
Bro.
With her mouth agape, she finally snapped out of it and screamed, "Jim, grab the shotgun and kill that son of a bitch." With that, my dad finally awoke. They heard snapping of twigs and footsteps and heard the guy running away. Of course, my parents didn't have a shotgun. It was a bluff that actually worked. My dad got up seconds later and began to run after him, but he was long gone. After that, my parents decided they were getting the fuck out of there before anything else happened. When they got to their truck, they found out that their tires had been slashed. They were in the middle of nowhere and had no way out with some maniac that wanted to kill them nearby. They actually tried blowing up the tires with one of those things you use to blow up rafts. Obviously that didn't work, but they had to try, right? About an hour or so later, a ranger that was patrolling the area came along and helped them out. He brought them back to town so they could get their tires fixed. While talking to the ranger, they found out that he had been searching for any suspicious activity due to murders nearby. My parents were likely the murderer's next victims. I tried to find some of the murder cases online, but was unable to.
Well, that was one of the stories. Here we go. Story 2. Let go. Same shirt I've been wearing
babysitting at 13
last video.
To earn some extra money, to spend horribly on embarrassing things like Fall Out Boy's CDs.
Just got a message.
I would almost always work for my dad's clients and get referred by word of mouth. I was babysitting for this one family who had a little girl, 9, and a little boy, 7. The parents seemed okay, if a tad crotchety and awkward, giving me a full schedule to follow, and jokingly threatening to beat any boy who might mysteriously show up after they left. It felt cruel for them to accuse me of knowing a boy, given I basically looked like an overgrown baby with frizzly hair at that age. Almost immediately after the parents had left, the little girl started singing the words "We're all alone" in a creepy high-pitched voice. "I know," the little boy chimed in. "Let's play rape." Looking back now, I know the kid probably just heard the term on TV, knew the word was shocking, and said it just for a reaction. I totally bought into it at the time, sputtering, wide-eyed, and changing the subject quickly. These kids were hell for the next hour. I wouldn't let them watch South Park on the TV because their parents did not seem like the type to allow their precious 7- and 9-year-old to watch a show like that. Little girl
And we
said
are back.
casually, "Oh, that's fine. We'll just go play PlayStation in the family room. Feel free to watch it out here." But I knew exactly where that was headed. I said they could watch any other TV show in the living room while I made them dinner. The
Wow.
parents had left instructions to make them sandwiches. I could handle that. Before I even got out the bread, I heard a massive crash. It seemed like the little girl had broken a glass. Tutting and pissed, but ultimately with no way to punish her, I cleaned it up while these two incredibly weird kids watched with wide eyes. Dumping the broken glass into the trash, I went back to making the sandwiches. I'm a vegetarian, so while the kids had chicken, I made a simple salad one for myself.
I would have done the same.
Just as I was finishing, the little boy screamed out in what sounded like an exaggerated scream of pain. Nonetheless, I ran over to the couch in the living room to check on him. My ankle, he howled kind of dramatically, flopping back into the couch. By the way he yelled it, I could tell he was a horrible actor. While I tried to figure out how he had allegedly hurt his ankle, the little girl slipped out of the room. Peripherally, I was aware of this, but didn't really pay it any mind. I was focused on this little boy pretending to be in pain. He kept saying, I went to stand, but it hurt too much. I don't know. He kept saying this over and over until his eyes suddenly flicked to just behind me where I could see the little girl standing with a perturbing smile on her face. And just like that, he was miraculously healed. At this point, I was just thinking these kids were really weird, craved attention a little too much, and probably needed more parental involvement. Whatever, I was 13 and that $60 was only 4 hours away. I set out the sandwiches for the two to eat at the dining table. Then I went to get us all soda and returned. After pouring soda for both of them, I realized they hadn't
Sorry
even
if
taken
like
a
the
bite of
face
their
cam's like
sandwiches yet.
delayed, like my voice with
I asked them what
the
they were
actual
waiting
video,
for.
but it's okay.
Then they smiled. For you to take a bite of yours? For some reason, I felt like my heart dropped after she said this, and I'm so glad I had the gut feeling to open the top part of the sandwich, because when I did, I saw glass. Broken glass. Broken glass that I'd put in the trash. I stared in horror at the two kids staring at me with menacing grins. I lost it, shouting at them, explaining they could have easily injured my mouth. What's wrong with you two? Instead of crying or apologizing or pretending to be ashamed or confused, these two little fuckers began laughing. Not like kids, it was too low. It wasn't that silly, typical kids laugh. It was low and threatening. I'll never forget that noise. My immediate reaction was, these kids are too young to be laughing like that. I called my older sister, cried about what happened, and she came and stayed there with me. We left the house with chills after the parents arrived. I never babysat for those two again.
Probably those parents are
What I
probably
can't
dead
get past
by
is the
now.
level of premeditation that went into sprinkling that broken glass into my sandwich and the totally remorseless way they responded to my getting upset. They were unlike any two kids I've ever met before.
And that girl, the thing I took a picture with, like I had my phone right here. I just sent the person a
This happened
picture
3
that they're in
years
the video.
ago, August 2013,
It's gonna
at
be
the
in
time
this
of
video.
writing this. I'm 25 years old, and a few years ago, me and 4 of my buddies who are all the same age as me were on our way to New Hampshire for a vacation. Or a 1-week trip, rather, to a
It's a
small
good
getaway
grab-
home
well,
that my buddy
good
Johnny
quality.
owns. It's in a very rural area, which is ideal for hunting, skiing, off-roading, paintballing, and overall just having a nice rural escape from the city. Why in New Hampshire, you may ask? Well, apparently his grandparents owned the land as their own little vacation spot before they passed, and he didn't want to sell it. This was the first time he'd be going up there for a whole year. We had a late start to the day, so we left Massachusetts around 3 o'clock, and after making a bunch of stops on the way there, we were finally just about there at about 7:30. It was starting to get dark now, and the isolated country roads were a bit spooky at this hour. We pulled onto the property off the dirt road, and Johnny slammed on the brakes and said, "Oh my God." We all looked at the home and saw the front door was open, and Maddie, one of my other buddies, pointed out the flashlight shining around inside the home that we could see through the window. "Dude, we gotta get the fuck out of here," I told him. Johnny did something that surprised all of us next. He stepped on the gas, approached the home, and laid on the horn for a good 10 seconds. The lights coming from inside the home went dark, and there was now nothing but a dark, unlit home with the front door open in front of us. Johnny was like, "Alright, let's go," as he aggressively left the car, ready to confront whoever was in there.
If it was him by himself, he would have been like, "Oh, heck
Johnny ran up the front porch, stormed into the home, flashlight in hand, and started yelling like a maniac. My heart was racing as I entered the home. Johnny told Maddie to run down to the basement with him, while me and the two others scouted the main floor. We all used our phones as flashlights. The electricity wasn't turned on yet, of course.
1 versus 5 billion?
Alec checked the kitchen, Amir checked a small bedroom and bathroom, while I checked a master bedroom down by the end of the home. It was seemingly empty, but I was afraid to check any of the closets. I reached out my hand closer to the doorknob of one of the sliding closets, but that's when I heard Maddie and Johnny screaming from the basement. At the same time, the closet door in front of me pulled open with force, and somebody emerged quickly, grabbing me and locking me in a hold. Before both of my friends ran downstairs, I got their attention by yelling, and they came to my aid. They both pulled the guy off of me, and he ran out of the house. We all ran downstairs expecting to find more intruders, but found something much more disturbing. Not only were we greeted to a putrid smell, but we were also immediately greeted to the gruesome sight of 2 dead bodies. Not just clean, unwounded corpses, no. These were bloody, missing limbs. Blood was splattered on the concrete floor. It was the most disturbing thing, no doubt, I have ever seen. We all ran as fast as possible out the house in an effort to find the man who attacked me, but it just wasn't possible.
You idiot!
Forests surrounded the house, and it would be pointless. The sheriff's department came to investigate. It became a huge scene with police lines, people taking pictures and fingerprints and everything. The 2 victims were identified as Indian barbershop workers. The cause for the murders is, as far as I know, unknown. I would refer you to Johnny for more information, but I'm not going to invade his privacy and leak his information to strangers like that. When we went home, we didn't speak to each other for about a week. We were all emotionally scarred in a sense, at least for a while. Now, it's nothing more than a story to tell.
They should have just kept the guy. Was he in the main? I think he was in the main. But how did he let him get away? There was like a lot of people there. It was weird. So, thank you guys for watching this video of Mr. Nightmare. Hope you guys enjoy. Link down in the description for his channel and this video, so I don't get a copyright strike. I'm gonna put some background music in this video, but not over this video, but like in the outro and intro. I'm gonna put that in the description because that's what you guys asked for it, and I'm talking too fast. So, thank you guys for watching. Peace out, and have a lovely day.